What really keeps a culture alive? It's not just stuff in museums or old history books, right? It's something way more personal. It's about passing on tradition. Today, we're going to dive into this very idea, all through the incredible wisdom of writer and artist Frank LaPena. We'll see how a single story can, amazingly, carry the weight of an entire people. So that brings up a huge question, doesn't it? Should we even bother preserving our cultural traditions? In a world that's all about the next new thing, what's the point of holding on to the old? It's a real dilemma, and it's the central question Frank LaPena's work really helps us unpack.
So for LaPena, this whole thing became urgent because of a really powerful and kind of sobering thought about loss. He was thinking about the recent deaths of traditional people in his community, and it hit him. When an elder passes away, it's not just a person we're losing. It's like a whole library burning down. All that knowledge, that direct link to the past, it can just vanish. Forever. Unless, of course, it's shared. So who exactly was this man who felt this urgency so deeply? Well, let's meet our guide for this journey, Frank LaPena.
Here he is. Frank LaPena was an incredible artist, a scholar, and a really passionate member of the Nam-Tipum-Wintu tribe. You could say his entire life's work was basically a mission, and that mission was to make absolutely sure the traditions he held so dear wouldn't just fade away with time.
And you can really see that commitment in his life story. His whole life was a testament to it. From his Bachelor of Arts in '65 to getting a master's in anthropology later on, and then his whole career as a professor and the director of Native American Studies, every single step was connected to this mission of keeping his culture alive.
But his dedication took on so many forms. He wasn't just some academic in an office. Oh no, he was an artist. He used paintings, sculpture, even poetry to give a voice to his heritage. He was also a true community leader, a founding member of the Maidu dancers and traditionalists. He was really in there, hands-on, working to bring native arts back to life. He didn't just study his work, he lived it.
So, okay, if the problem is losing these elders and all their wisdom, then what's the solution? Well, for LaPena, the answer was something that's both incredibly simple and, at the same time, really profound.
It all comes down to this: oral tradition. And look, this is way more than just telling bedtime stories. It's this active, living, breathing process of passing on an entire worldview. We're talking culture, values, history, everything. And it all happens through the most fundamental things we do: speaking and listening. And this process, it creates this beautiful kind of self-sustaining cycle. Think about it. Step 1, the elders share their stories, their wisdom. Step 2, the next generation has this super important job. They have to listen and learn. And step 3, well, that ensures the tradition doesn't die out. It gets preserved, ready for them, one day, to become the storytellers and keep that cycle going. And that's why this quote from LaPena is so important. He says, "For this, we must listen to our elders' stories." It really highlights that this is a two-way street, The sharing is absolutely vital. But the listening, that's just as crucial. It's an act of respect, it's how we learn, it's how we preserve. Because without someone actively listening, those incredible stories just fall silent.
Okay, so this passing of knowledge, it isn't just about words. It also lives and breathes through art. But here's the thing. With using art to carry tradition, comes a really profound sense of responsibility for the artist.
Being an artist himself, LaPena didn't just see art as something pretty to hang on a wall. Not at all. For him, it was like a mirror, a reflection of the health of a culture, the questions it was asking, the values it held dear. He truly believed that the answers to a culture's biggest questions could be found right there in the work of its artists.
And this leads to a pretty powerful challenge for any artist who works with tradition. It's not that LaPena was against new ideas or modifying things, but he really urged creators to check their motives. Are you changing this just for your own ego? Or are you doing it with a deep, genuine respect for the very source of your inspiration? That whole idea of respecting the source brings us to a really key word that LaPena uses: entrust. Yeah, the definition is simple: to give responsibility for something. But wow, it is packed with meaning. When something is entrusted to you, it means it's not really yours to just do whatever you want with. You're its guardian, its caretaker.
And this, right here, is really the heart of LaPena's message. Traditions are not just a nice gift. They are a responsibility. The elders, they don't just give us their stories, they entrust them to us, to our care. And with that trust comes a very real duty to honor them and to carry those traditions forward with integrity.
So, what does this all mean for us? Today in our own lives, how do we take this idea and actually carry it forward?
I think the ultimate takeaway here is that tradition isn't some dusty old thing locked behind glass in a museum. It's a living, breathing part of our world. And like LaPena suggests, it lives in the daily choices we all make, in our jobs, with our families, in the stories we decide to tell, and, just as importantly, in the voices we decide to listen to. So, we kind of end up right back where we started, but with a totally new perspective. If tradition is a responsibility, something that's been entrusted to us, whether it's from our families, our communities, whatever our culture is, then the final question isn't just how do we save it, it's how do we share it? So the real question for you is, how will you?